Welcome back to day 2 of the Singapore group stage. We are on to game 3 of the day, which will feature Najin White Shield taking on North America's number 2 seed Cloud9. And when you looked at the 6 games from today, this was the headline matchup. How the hell it's going to follow what just happened, I don't know. Let's start by talking about Cloud9. They looked good yesterday. They went 2-0. I instantly want to say hi and Meteos. They stepped up on this stage. Let's talk about some of their play, how they perform. Maybe probably kick us off talking a little bit about Hai and how we looked yesterday.
I'm actually really happy with Hai's performance, mostly because he's going up against other star mid laners. He's not going up against weak players and performing well. He's going against really good players and outperforming them. So it's kind of like not just playing well, but playing better than other really good players are.
Well, I mean, he did have a very favorable matchup against Froggen with Syndra into Xerath. But even so, I think that Hai, I was talking about this before the games, but I think that he had the most to gain out of going and boot camping in Korea. I think Korean solo queue can do this guy a world of good, and it looks like it has. He stepped up, and he's still that excellent shot caller that we think about.
Yeah, definitely delivering. Meteos, on the other hand, only 1 death across their 2 games, also a stellar performance. If we look at the other side of the coin, Shield, a little bit questionable yesterday. Some things there, Monty, you want to chime in?
Well, Shield is a team that has actually picked themselves into a corner in picks and bans multiple times. This is a characteristic of this team. And what happens is that they have these nail-biter games that go to 50 minutes, an hour long, where they eventually just out-rotate you, and they're so patient, right? They don't always, pick up the ball in those picks and bans, but at the end of the day, they're the ones who have the consummate patience to wait for that one opportunity that's going to win them the game.
What I will say, though, is about Shield, I'm not really convinced by their performance versus Alliance. They were really far down early, and I really think that the only reason that they won was because Tristana just outscaled Lucian really, really hard, and their team comp just worked really well together. So, yeah, they have, decent picks and bans, and like Monty said, sometimes they pick themselves into a corner, so that might not even go off them in this match. But if they fall behind so much early game, they can lose to any team.
Yeah, but you've got to give some props to Gorilla as well. Yes, Tristana was representative, but Gorilla playing that Thresh yesterday, hook after hook after hook. Probably was talking about Thresh earlier. Crepo, care to chime in a little bit on Gorilla, how he handled himself yesterday?
He's just, I think, by far the player that has impressed me the most on that team. Just super solid. And when I watched his games before, what impressed me the most was not his Thresh, was just the Nami and the Janna play coming out, but he definitely stepped up. He just showed the world how good of a support he really, really is.
Right, we have a large contingent of North American players on the bench now. We need to step back. Cloud9 has just watched...
It's not a bench.
Cloud9 has just watched Fnatic secure a win against Samsung Blue. Cloud9 put up a hell of a strong performance yesterday and are looking good. So I want you all to put your cards on the table. Tell me, who do you think is going to win this game? Najin Shield or Cloud9? We'll start with Monte Cristo. Who's going to pick up the win and why?
I think Najin White Shield. I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes in picks and bans, but again, with this team, you never quite know. But their patient style, I think, will hold them out, and they will be able to win this game. Probably a long one, though.
Crepo, you're up next.
I'm going to surprise, and I'm going to go with Cloud9 here. I think they have what it takes, and I really like Meteos' play. He played so smart. He was putting pressure in different areas of the game all the time. It's like when you break down a wall, you can hammer it down, or you can just drill a couple holes in the right spots and then just completely deny the structural integrity of that wall. And that's what Meteos does. He's always in the right place, and yeah, C9 is going to take this one.
Prolly?
Dude, I'm going with American Pie. Apple pie, whatever, all the pies.
Apple pie.
I'm going with C9. I think Hai is doing real well. I love Meteos right now. I think they got this really well.
I hope the non-inverse of what you've done. When you call people out for playing bad, they play well. We will see. Maybe it's your fault. Maybe it's your fault. Double lift. Who's picking up the win and why?
I'm also with Cloud9. I think Meteos, once again, just like Prolly just said, Meteos is playing spectacularly. His vision control, he doesn't make those ridiculous plays that Watch does, where I shouldn't say ridiculous, overly aggressive and get killed. Like you said, 1 death in 2 games. So Cloud9, I think, has this. They both have the same weaknesses also with the bottom lane that plays kind of passive. I worry a little bit for Sneaky and Lemon, but really, I think Cloud9 is really solid right now, and I'm so scared for Shield's early game.
Yeah, based on what we saw from Alliance earlier in the day, I too am waving the American flag, and I hope Cloud9 brings it home. Right, fans at home have locked in their vote as well. According to LOLesports.com, it's Cloud9 who our viewers think will win this one, but it is only 60% of the vote that is not convinced by far. Let's send this one over to the guys at the caster desk for the play-by-play.
Thank you very much, guys. The crowd is pumped up for this next match, so let's get right to it with a look at the rosters for both teams. On the blue side this time around, representing Korea, is Najin White Shield, with Save in the top lane, Watch in the jungle, Goong in the mid lane, Zephyr the AD carry, and Gorilla on support.
And on the red side is Cloud9 from the North American LCS. Up top is Balls in the jungle, Meteos, mid-high, AD carry Sneaky, and support Lemon Nation.
And of course, then Goong and Hai take center stage for this game's featured matchup. Hai died to Froggen, but outfarmed him in lane.
99 CS at 10 minutes there. Froggen had 89 as well. So, you know, Hai has been performing very well in a lot of these things. That's 86 CS at 10 minutes. That's his average, I think, in the tournament across both games. So we'll see if he can keep performing. He has so much power from Korean solo queue, and it definitely feels like almost the Korean lords have been lifted off of these guys. I think the analyst desk got, as soon as they saw a Korean team lose, like, all right, I guess everyone can do it now. Cloud9, 3 votes on that desk. We'll see if it's true, though. Both these teams are 2-0 groups.
As easy as that, one game.
Yeah. It's like,
But
well, yep.
Definitely, though, and whenever you talk about Hai, you have to talk about his shot calling as well, which was great against Alliance. But Goong, this guy is also a very strong player in the mid lane when he gets his specific champions. Now, both of these mid laners have been criticized for the small champion pools in the past, and they've both worked to actually change those champions pools, something Goong himself had to work on when, you know, Nidalee was reworked and LeBlanc was reworked. So we'll have to see how these guys kind of clash here, especially if picks and bans is something that is a difficulty for Shield. That's usually where Cloud9 excel. If both mid laners have kind of small pools, which do overlap a little bit, by the way.
Well, let's stay on that point then, since we're going into Champion Select next. Where are the big picks and the big bans in this game?
So the big thing that overlaps is, of course, the Zed for both of those guys. Ahri, not so much. That's more a Goong thing. And Syndra is probably more of a Hai thing.
Yeah.
Actually, more even of just a North American thing.
I think specifically the Syndra is a pick that a lot of other regions have not been respecting that much. It's good in almost all scenarios that Cloud9 wants to try and create. Really strong lane bully, and it has the ability to create fights in the mid and late game, which, since Lemon Nation is on this Janet tick, it's actually one of the only champions who can create fights without fully committing. It's actually very key to Cloud9's strategy, I think.
It's actually a champion that during the North American regionals, we saw a huge surge in popularity of Syndra for all these teams because she's so strong at forcing things in so many different scenarios. Her stun is probably one of the best utility spells you can get from a mid laner. Even comparing him to Xerath, who has a very comparable stun, Syndra's goes through champions. It has an extra 50 range on it, so you can get those Fog of War stuns. Plus, it travels much, much faster. Have to look up the number again. I had it before we started.
You and your numbers today, you did so much nice research.
All right.
You've got experience in minion
it
wave.
travels 200 units faster. So Xerath's stun is much easier to dodge. Syndra's travels at 2,500
miles an hour?
It's
Teemos.
It's missile speed.
It's Teemos. It's 2,500 missile speeds.
So let's check in then and have a look at the
No, it's
banned.
banned! No!
Yeah, you were going to get to do your numbers once again, but banned away here by Najin White Shield, along with Maokai for Cloud9, taking away Alistair, taking away Zillion as well.
Well, at least we know Syndra was a smart ban right
Yeah,
there. But
they did their research too. It was like, 2,500, that's way too fast.
it makes it a little scary for Cloud9 to actually find fights if they do want to go with Lemonation's Janna once again. But remember, this is against Gorilla, the guy who wanted to show the world how to play Janna.
We'll see here, though, because, you know, he's definitely not been sad about going onto that Thresh.
I just wanted to point out that Cloud9 actually having both Zillion and Alistair banned against them in their previous 2 games. And today they say, well, we actually don't want to play them anyway, so we'll just ban them out.
It's a big blue side ban there.
And the final ban will actually be Lee Sin. No final ban there for Najin White Shield, which is an interesting.
So, were they docked a ban?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, we weren't notified that they were docked a
passed
ban.
on one of their bans. So,
and you said earlier on that Zed was going to be a big one in this one, and that was left open, and Shield first pick it. Similar to what we saw earlier with Daddy.
So interesting. We were just notified they for sure were not docked a ban. They passed on that on purpose. They ban out the Syndra, and they take the Zed. So the overlap they decide to take, they ban out the one that they don't have an overlap on, and we will see the pools of these mid laners being crucial in this matchup.
Well, first off, I like the fact that Meteos was able to lock down Kha'Zix. I feel like Kha'Zix and Lee Sin are the two big junglers here at the World Championship. They get the only one left available. I'm also curious about whether Hai will break out Fizz. It's something he's put a fair amount of practice in. I've never really seen him have a great game on it, but a lot of people trained it to play against Zed.
Well, if you're throwing out possibilities there for Hai, he's also played Kha'Zix in the mid lane.
Oh, yeah.
But you made a really good point, though. With Lee Sin already banned and Kha'Zix locked in, that's the jungler that they probably want to go with. Hai has not played mid lane Kha'Zix in a long time.
So on the other side then for White Shield, picking up Rise here. We'll also get Gorilla on Thresh. We heard a bit before we even said it in the last game as well that we saw Shield in that. Now people have been talking about the Janna and the Nami from Gorilla, but his Thresh has been so good.
Better than his Janna, because honestly, they're undefeated. He's made so many clutch hooks. He was one of the sole reasons they made it back in that first game of the day against Alliance, just finding hooks.
And it's such a playmaking champion that top-level players can really excel on. The NWS was just talking about it. So many of these really top-level supports making plays after plays with Thresh. He has so many options with his kit.
So for Cloud9 then, Lulu going to be locked in along with Nami.
Tristana protection right here coming in. They've got double support, semi-supports already locked in.
I wonder if
they have
Orianna in the mid lane.
threats already, so they can actually put their defenses on whichever of these threats is actually under fire here. They don't have to. You don't always have to shove everything onto Trist in the end game here. You can also use all these shields to protect your Kha'Zix. Oh!
Or Talon. That's the other thing. One thing about high
Talon
champion
into Zed?
I guess so. It's not that great of a mid lane matchup, but it's something that Hai has been training the crap out of. Pretty much all of his main mid laners outside of Syndra are all physical damage dealers, so they need to have that magic damage top lane. But into a Zed, yikes.
All right, so we can definitely say this for sure, not just to protect the Trish combo, because they've got two other very high value threats here. This is a 3 squishy threat, 2 support system here from Cloud9. This combo takes a lot of precision to pull off. This is going to take a lot of very crisp communication and crisp team fighting from Cloud9 to pull this off.
And are you going to then put forward that argument that Cloud9, if any team were to do that, are possibly that team?
Yes.
Especially from North America. I mean,
Good.
I have to look at White Shield's composition as well. With the first pick, Zed, it is a scary amount of pick composition, but they're super late game scaling. Yes, they have Ryze in the top lane, but Trist versus Corki, it does seem like they might actually get outscaled a bit.
And so here's the thing. These two assassins that Cloud9 have picked actually work really well together because Talon is actually sort of a team fight oriented assassin. He's not like Zed, who's definitely thrives on that split pushing. Talon actually can have a huge impact on team fights because he does so much AoE. So if he jumps in, does his AoE burst, Kha'Zix can clean up. They've got Tristana firing from the back for late game insurance. So many options here from Cloud9. Let's get into it though.
Well, remember, we'll be checking in on how you guys are voting during the game, so continue to tweet at LOL Esports and use the hashtag NWS win or C9 win for who you think will prevail. But for now, we are going to get into game. It's Najin White Shield versus Cloud9. Basically, the game right now to seal who's going to be sat at the top of the group. I also got a last little bit of information about White Shield's missed ban. We have translators actually listening into the champion select as well, and apparently they were discussing the ban, couldn't decide on one, so just left it.
Hey, sometimes no decision is better than a bad decision. But with bans, you know, they didn't want to ban their own champion. That's one thing. There's a lot of power bans that get traded back and forth. Do you ban Ryze? Do you ban Zed? They end up getting both of them, and those have been bans in the past.
All right, let's see how that matchup does turn out because, as we heard emphatically from Prawley on the desk, very difficult matchup here for Talon. Small margin for error. Hai can pull it off. This is not like a hard counter, but there is a small margin for error.
Hai has stepped up in huge ways, say his teammates, since that North American LCS playoff defeat to TSM. They do get scouted by a nice ward there, so White Shield will have an early game edge here in that regard.
Spotted them coming back out of the jungle though, so White Shield know that they're actually safe in there. We'll see if that actually influences where what will be starting. We also see Zephyr and Gorilla starting fairly well pushed up this lane. This could be interesting if Cloud9 decide to face check in.
So he's standing here to see if there will be that blue invade, to see if there is that swap up top and late side blue invade. Najin White Shield. Looks like they're actually going to try and start here for a watch. I wonder if they saw that ward go down. I don't think so.
Well, they saw them coming in, could probably surmise from that one as
Now they see him in lane.
Gorilla, will actually show himself there as well. They were waiting for quite a while inside of that brush, but it will be a normal 2v2 start here. So I guess we can stay there and talk about this lane matchup.
We say it's normal, but this is actually the first time Cloud9's decided to go for a 2v2. They've done so much swapping both in the North American playoffs and so far in this group stage. We'll have to see how this Trist Nami plays out.
And you can see Gorilla and Zephyr were up in the lane just in case there was a lane swap. They kind of expected it from Cloud9 because they've done it so often. They were ready to pool those minions and get them to focus to push the minion wave back. And that's also maybe why the rest of the members were sitting up by that blue. But Cloud9 this time around not going for the lane swap. Nami does help out Trist a lot in the lane phase, but early shove here and an early hook.
And that's going to be good here for White Shield. Sneaky losing half of his health bar instantly as White Shield hit level 2. There is Cloud9 getting themselves up to level 2 as well. Meteos may be called in, and Watch is actually already down on this bottom side.
It would be an incredibly dangerous and also out of character gank for Meteos if he actually tries to gank this lane early on. I think he's just going to try and get a bit of vision control and go back to farming. That's generally what he likes to do, is just let the other jungler try his first gank, and when his laners dodge the gank, he then has an edge on the enemy jungler.
So far, Hai is giving as good as he gets in this lane. Now, he has started with the Crystalline Flash, so he doesn't run He can use his abilities to trade more effectively. He tries to get minions in with the harass when he throws out his rake, or tries to get harass in with his minions when he throws it out. 2 for 1.
Currently very even as well is that lane. One lane that's not quite as even at this point though is that top lane. We'll visit that in just a moment as we see Watch coming around from the vision of Cloud9. They see Watch looping in there, so they're going to be aware that they could be in danger here, possibly. Watch is going all the way up and will get a very deep ward inside of Cloud9's jungle.
So, super early on, Meteos doesn't actually want to fight Watch unless he has, you know, some big vision advantage on him and he can get the jump.
Or if he has backup.
So later on, he'll be fine and he can outscale. But early on, doesn't want to take those 1 versus 1s because if the police hits that cocoon, it's going to be devastating.
Yeah, they're basically just trading pink wards, or sorry, trading deep wards on the map here. It's not unlike Cloud9 to almost sacrifice one lane for the benefit of the other. This game, very early on, they are definitely favoring Balls' side with that deep ward because they know that Sneaky and Elimination are going to be playing passive for most of that lane. Since they know Balls will be pushed up against save the majority of the time, the deep wards are much more important on that side.
Oh, here comes the hook from Gorilla, but it was pretty much a mile away from Sneaky. Aimed off to the right-hand side. Sneaky just basically standing still there, and that hook just whistling on by and allowed Sneaky to actually get a good
Watch thinking about an invade. Oh, they're pinging for the gank up top on Balls. Watch is going to go through Cloud9's jungle. The deep ward didn't help.
Yeah.
Balls is going to be
It's such a deep ward that it missed the ward in what would be a likely scenario.
Oh, here comes Safe,
Got a
and
flash.
Watch gonna come through into this one. They're gonna wait until the cocoon comes out. It's a good flash from Balls.
Pretty much a textbook escape. That's the best he could have done. That
problem is now his lane is shoved, and so Save up here should be able to. Oh, never mind. He's got an extra ranged minion. It's fine for Balls. It's fine. Doesn't have to burn his teleport either because he doesn't want to overextend in that lane. He brings 2 wards for himself. One is pink. Meteos also takes that opportunity because Watch shows top. He invades the bottom side jungle. Watch's ward though sees him.
Ooh, that's
looking to counter. Better get that quick. Nah, Watch does not come up.
Well, actually headed towards that bottom side of the map where, to be fair, Sneaky and Elimination have pushed out a little bit from that turret. There are actually no wards in position, so not been able to get up far enough to get that vision down. They do spot watch coming in. There's a flash into the play. Can they lock one down? Balls going to TP in, but Lemon Nation is going down. His first blood for Zephyr. Balls is there. But Sneaky going aggressive. Looking for Zephyr. There is Meteos as well. Gorilla's low. He will be the focus, and Balls will get the kill back. Meanwhile, Save finishes off Sneaky on the top side. He's kind of in no man's land now, though. He's got to escape.
It's a 2v1 for White Shield so far, but this fight is not over yet. Zed trying to mirror high. It's going to be a fight.
Oh, there's the death mark coming down. Save will move in from the side. Goong going to get some decent damage down, but he's being burnt down by the Ignite. He's able to escape, though, in the end. Save did a big loop, and he also lives.
High used his ultimate in lane, so he didn't have it there, or they would have been able to turn around on Goong. That's why Goong had the confidence to chase down High and open up an escape route for Save.
That fight in the bottom lane, though, was so close. The fact that White Shield came out 2v1 for that one could have very well gone the other way. Let's check this one out real quickly. Obviously, Gorilla starts it off nice. They get enough damage down on Lemon Nation. He was close to being able to escape this one. Such an amazing glitter lance by Balls here. I thought they were going to get more casualties, but Sneaky is kind of caught out a bit by himself.
Gorilla once again plays on this Thresh, a crucial pick for Najin White Shield. Gorilla, because of the initiative that he took in the bottom lane trade, even with their teleport coming in later, they still come out ahead.
And a 14 CS lead is what remains of that one. Lead for Zephyr. Goong is slightly ahead here of 5, but for all intents and purposes, it is level there as Goong gets the blue buff gifted over to him by Watch. See what High decides to go for. A pickaxe start, actually, for High.
I do have to say, the biggest beneficiary of everything that happened was Save in the top lane. The last of the top lane carries on Rise. First off, Watch his gank early on, relieved the pressure Balls was placing on him, and then when he could teleport down to get a kill as well, considering his early game disadvantage, he is sitting pretty up there and primed to carry. He's already got his tier and his catalyst.
Building up for him, only 8.5 minutes into this game. Balls back into that lane. Of course, he's going for his Athenes first. Talked about High going for that pickaxe, and actually he's going to go pretty damn aggressive there onto Goong. Is that a signal that he wants to head back? Save again, throwing out the ultimate onto Balls in the top. He's feeling a lot more confident now.
Yep, he's got his mana stacking items. He's got that kill you talked about. Balls did get one as well, though, so we're evened up on that. I just want to go over that exchange that we just saw mid, though. High actually spamming his ultimate here in lane. As we said before, he used it in lane before the last exchange for lane control. He gets a lot of damage down on the Zed, but also clears the minion wave very quickly every time he uses his ultimate as well, shoving in Zed.
And with the blue buff, it's on a remarkably low cooldown, only 62 seconds, so basically a minute, and you can see he almost has it back up.
And it's something we even saw Goom using when he was on Talon against Baker.
Oh, Save actually has no flash here after that last encounter down in the bottom lane. Meteos waiting inside of the tribush, so there is a ward there, but Save needs to be careful as to how far up he goes. There is the step forward, and Meteos decides that is going to be the time for him to come in. Can he lock down Save? The slow will come in there. Will they even dive this one? There is a wild growth coming in together. Knock up. There is the lockdown coming back, and Meteos taking a lot of damage. Will they get the kill?
It's a pretty common Cloud9 trade. A 10-minute gank up top isn't warded against because the enemy team can just take the dragon on you. They're trading, trying to shut down Save for a big objective.
Excuse me, it was Pawn. But yeah, they are going to trade that for the dragon here. Najin White Shield able to secure that simple exchange of jungle pressure.
So, we've hit the 10-minute mark already. 1,500 gold lead for the Korean side of Najin White Shield. His bottom lane still being held by Zephyr. Thanks in part to Gorilla's amazing play so far. I think we've seen one hook that's gone wide. The rest have been pretty much either dodged with the jumps away from Sneaky or have landed to set things up. That might even happen now once again as Zephyr's just stepping up there to put as much deep damage down as he can, which will include single auto attack this time around only onto that tower. Meanwhile, Goong's got some free time in that middle lane because we did see High recalling to pick himself up the Tiamat.
So really, it's just Cloud9 trying to stall this one out a little bit. If we're going into a Najin White Shield versus Cloud9 game, we can't expect fireworks. The way these teams have actually been able to win games has been through fairly slow, methodical manner. At the moment, though, the lanes are going in White Shield's favor, which is much different than their Alliance matchup.
It will be explosive, though. With the comp that... Ooh! Cloud9 are running.
Goom's going to go in there, but High being invisible dodges most of the damage to come out, but Goom says, no, I think I'm done in this one. I am running back away. The Ignite was put down by High. Meanwhile, Gorilla had also come around the side to maybe try and get involved, as had Watch, and Zephyr had even moved up that river area. Nothing really on the table for them, though, so no kills will go down in that mid lane.
Yeah, Cloud9's bottom lane's leaking a little bit right now. I'm wondering when Zeph and Gorilla are going to start putting pressure on the rest of the map, or if they're going to be able to clean that bottom lane quickly, because Gorilla's going to try and make an impact.
Now he's going mid. He's making his impact now.
Oh, they're going to go in. Can they hook him? No. Flash actually going to be forced from High, so, I mean, moving in for that one, forcing out the Summoner spell. A win.
We saw exactly this same thing from Najin White Shield's bottom lane last time. Corki Thresh, they got an early lead. Gorilla started roaming. He got mobility boots, and he affected the rest of the map.
Uh-oh, Sneaky could be in trouble. Lemon Nation could actually be in trouble here. The hook will land into the box. He's slowed for days. The cocoon follows. There is an exhaust down, and Watch can't get through. Luckily for him, the white comes up there, and he's able to back off. Gorilla might not be so lucky, but the TP from Save is going to come down. Sneaky at less than half HP. Balls is there as well. Oh! They finish him off. They do get one. Save is going to die to the tower, though, and Balls somehow still alive. Finally finished off, but High comes down, and he'll clean up that one. Gorilla needs to run as well.
In a 5v4, Cloud9 trades the kills beautifully, and Meteos just now arrives.
Said it was going to be explosive with the comp that Cloud9 are running. All very squishy, but high damage output. And the dive there from Najin White Shield turned around very quickly. Gives also Cloud9 some control around this Dragon Pit. They do clear out the pink ward, but man, those deep wards, Najin White Shield invading really hard on this blue buff side of Cloud9. Gorilla, as we said, making play after play with this Thresh, flashing that non-tidal wave.
Right after I said it would be a passive game, this happens. Obviously, it looked a little confusing that they backed off, but that's because the balls teleported came in behind the fight. He arrives just about the same time Rise does it, because that's bad.
Another kill.
Another kill.
It's Lemon Nation caught out of position there. I mean, there's 3 men on top of him. Can't really afford to go through there. Just also has to just leap away. Means that blue buff is going to be stolen away by Najin White Shield.
And look at the allocation of wards here. Najin White Shield, they litter this blue side jungle with wards, as we said, and they continue to fight in that side of the jungle. Cloud9 have 3 pink wards on the top side of the map, but there's nothing going on up there. There are no fights. That is not the battlefield.
And what's going to happen with mid-game Dragon Control at this point? It definitely seems like White Shield is going to continue to take those, and how is Cloud9 going to make up for that gold deficit? Yes, it's nice that they're trying to let Balls have success in that lane to shut down Rise, but when you have a solo lane Lulu and a Trist, you kind of have to help Trist out in the laning phase a little bit. I'm scared here for Sneaky falling too far behind.
Especially when he's against a Corki, a Trinity Force builder, a caster AD carry. This is going to be a huge boon for Najin White Shield in the coming teamfights. They've got this tremendous damage output with the Trinity Force Corki versus the Tristana sitting on Avarice Blade and pieces of items.
It definitely seems like Cloud9 may be pulling off the top lane strategy a little bit. It's going to be hard pressed though, because there's so many deep wards already in their jungle. They cannot possibly clear these out before the next dragon spawns, and they will be at mercy to Thresh.
And if, well, I was just about to praise Gorilla as he comes through, not quite landing there, as Cloud9 were just trying to clear out those wards, but Gorilla's hit clutch hooks today.
And now that we are having more team fights, we see the armor focus here from Save. He's going straight into that Glacial Shroud.
This is such a scary team fight for Cloud9, though. Trinity Force, as you mentioned, completed, whereas Sneaky's sitting on components, part way to a Static Shiv, very far away from his Infinity Edge. High would have to play this team fight exquisitely. Save already has Rod of Ages. It feels like Shield is a stronger team right now.
Oh! Getting caught from this one. The damage is massive. Deathmark actually going down. Gorilla will fall though to Sneaky, but what can they do? We see Watch and Zephyr going deep. Sneaky goes low, tries to jump away from things, gets away, but Meteos will be given up, and that is going to be a 3-for-1. They lose the support, but they take top, middle, and jungle.
That's going to be Dragon, definitely, for White Shield. As we can see there, Zephyr, huge amounts of DPS going out, claims a red buff for himself, and they've got control. They can shove the waves up.
Najin White Shield paying attention to the power spikes. Trinity Force for Zephyr. Save, even though he wasn't immediately in the fight, could make it over. It was time to fight. They just break this game wide open after that one.
All right, so let's see here. High does go for the 100% on Gorilla. This is the support, though, so taking him out did not really affect the team fight. They did draw out his exhaust, but after High uses everything to take down Thresh support, there's so much damage left here from Najin White Shield, they take over.
Najin White Shield, after that Alliance game, obviously said, guys, let's not do that one again. Let's not do it the hard way. Sat 8-5 up in kills, but it's the gold that's the real big difference in this one. And White Shield gonna go for a hook, just a little bit wide on that one once again.
White Shield definitely picked a much stronger mid-game this time around, and they're gonna try and close the deal, which is something Alliance could not do.
Sneaky was also harassed down at the very beginning of that fight. Didn't get to add much to it. Let's see about this top lane focus, though. Meteos sitting on that pink ward. That was a short jump. Everybody's moaning, but it's the unevolved wings. Yeah, he did clip the end of that little round there.
Oh, I actually got aggressive after that. Being lured into it. Actually has to flash though. Where's the least gonna come down? Right on top of him. Watch gets the execute, but here comes the TP. Paul's gonna join in the fight. Watch is low. What can Paul do? He has to use his own wild growth on himself, and he's gonna fall. Goog, meanwhile, in between the remaining three, will drop off, but save keeps going. There is Corky joining in. They get the tower, but Najin are low.
Why is Cloud9 continually fighting? They are not at their power points yet, but High decided to go in, immediately flashed away, and everything else just collapsed upon them. Cloud9 loses another fight because they are behind.
Yeah, they keep fighting. It's kind of snowballing against them. They got that feeling that they're behind and they didn't want to give much more. You can tell, though, High, he doesn't want to let any aggressive move go. And even though it missed, or there was no follow-up on this hook, decides to jump back in. I mean, that ward, by the way, didn't see Watch coming down.
They know how strong Zephyr is at this point. He jumps straight into his face. And Sneaky, if he was a Trinity Force Corky right now, of course that fight would have turned, but it just takes more time for Triss to get in there. Rise can counter the Lulu teleport very easily. Balls basically teleports in to die. And Najin White Shield takes an even greater edge.
See if Cloud9 hits Turtle. They go aggressive down bottom on Goom to get his flash, but that's all. Focus up top here. Now Shield are going to answer, swing everybody up top, take that turret, and claim this red buff side for themselves.
Try and choke Cloud9 now out of this game. Wards down. In fact, if you look at the map, that is a lot of wards down for Najin White Shield right now.
All five.
The bottom side and the top side. You can see the path they've taken through. That tower's going down too.
And it's not just Gorilla. Yes, Gorilla's doing a magnificent job of controlling the map, but it's also Watch with the Sight Stone. Here's the 1v1.
Oh, he's going to come out on top of it. It's going to be the death bar, but Ignite is down, and it's great.
He upgraded his sweeper to get the Oracle lens so early on to go for that 1v1. It does afford him the experience of winning that 1v1, but they still trade.
That's actually really good for High. He gets a shutdown bonus, and maybe he can use his talent for a team fight victory, but the global gold disadvantage and honestly the power of Save and Zephyr at the moment just seems like much more than Cloud9 can deal with.
Definitely is too much to handle mid lane.
Yeah, the gold disparity across the board is pretty devastating. Top lane, AD carries both about 2,000 gold behind their opposite number. And we're closing in on a 10,000 gold lead here for Najin White Shield. And that's with just that outer ring of turrets going down. Plus, of course, that one here in the middle that we're looking at right now. We've got 1 minute and 40 until the next dragon comes up. I think it's going to be a case of having to maybe give this one up for Cloud9.
Yes, please. Yeah, at this point. Otherwise, they'll lose the game before 30 minutes. They may already have lost this one, depending on how well White Shield knows how to close. Sneaky needs a lot of time to get more and more items. Infinity Edge, Berserker Greaves, he's probably going to even need a Last Whisper since Watch and Save have started working towards some major armor itemization already.
Yeah, clear item path for them with 280 assassins. Tristana. Small win there for Cloud9, both skill shots missing, but that was 1 ward in 10 that are on their side of the jungle.
At least 10. That's a whole hot down there. We do see Goom just doing a lap. He was obviously pushing that top wave out. Actually, we'll wait here inside of the enemy jungle, just looking by that raid camp to get some free damage down. Meanwhile, Watch was determined to come around and get this pink ward. Will finally be able to do so. And White Shield now strangling the bottom side.
And you can really see Najin's focus on ward control and commitment to it. A minute ago, there were all 5 pink wards down for White Shield. They're currently still having all 5 down, yet they have 4 pink wards in their inventory just in case one gets taken down or if they need to move their vision. They are just maximizing their ward limits on the map.
And not only is it a double sight zone, he's upgraded to a Ruby sight zone as well, so he can stay out on the map longer and still have wards.
Yeah, Save is gonna just turn around and kill Meteos because it's just that strong right now.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad. For all the attention that Cloud9 put into trying to shut Save down, it has failed, and it has cost them Sneaky's farm as well. It's one of those games where everything goes wrong.
It was the play coming in at the last second there. Pink ward goes down to spot high, and they're gonna keep chasing here. The Rune Prison's gonna come up in a second. There it is, and the finisher from Save, up at 5-2-2 after 22 minutes on Rise.
They should push in now. Looks like they already have control down bottom. That's where they're making their move. This turret gonna go down to Corky here, trying to put on work, but they go mid.
Sneaky, I feel that he may be falling prey once again, and the Deathmark does go down. It's Watch actually that finishes off the kill. Meanwhile, Zephyr has been pushing that bottom lane, and across the map, White Shield are just demolishing Cloud9.
They got the kills and the turret down at the exact same time. They are not letting this mid-game window go to waste. There's no way they're going to wait around for Tristana to scale up here. Najin White Shield pushing it very, very hard.
And Najin Shield is kind of proving that they can play multiple styles. They had the late-game turtle against Alliance when Alliance had the mid-game composition. They probably also watched a little bit of Blue's late-game composition fail to Fnatic, and they say, you know what, this late-game thing is a little bit too risky. They go for a mid-game composition that still has some strong late-game insurance with Rise, and they're just destroying Cloud9 here 24 minutes in.
So, yeah, I mean, if we look at the actual goal totals, it's not a pretty picture for Cloud9. The only turret left outside of the base is in that top lane, which itself has already faced quite a lot of pressure. We still see, I believe, 4 out of 5 pink wards are still alive on the map for Najin White Shield. Continuing that vision dominance, making it so hard for Cloud9 to actually walk away. And pink ward is down. High is going to get the support from Balls here, but Save just going to blow him to pieces. Sneaky comes in, actually blows him back into the lane. Slow comes down. TP, no, can't get away from the Wild Joe. Turns back to do the damage onto Balls, and Cloud9 gang up for the single
all
kill.
5 of them.
And
it's going to take their base.
Has been pushed, yeah.
That is just a bit of an overcommit there by Cloud9. They had a mission to kill Save.
Mission
However,
accomplished.
I guess goal not working out.
No.
Oh dear.
They lose the middle inhibitor turret. They're going to lose the top inhibitor turret. One of the inhibitors may go down here as well, and maybe even worse if Gorilla can land a hook. Goong in the meantime still hammering away. Sneaky is pushing the bottom lane. Going to get an inner tower for that one, but there is Goong going on to elimination. Where's the splat? There it is, and he goes back, and Cloud9 left. Oh, where did he go? Okay, back to the middle lane, still alive. They could even get both in him with the kill. They will. They're so far ahead.
Yeah, that is a case of winning the battle for Cloud9 with their mission to kill Save, but losing the war. Their entire base is demolished. That's wide open for Najin White Shield.
At least you didn't get away with that teleport. I mean, that would have just been a disaster. At the end of the day, though, High on the run yet again.
One more missile.
Is out of options here in a lot of different ways. It's crazy too, because imagine how this group is going out, and it's what you touched on earlier, Kobe, in not being able to judge these incredibly competitive groups off of single games. Cloud9 looked really good against Alliance. Alliance had a really good mid-game against White Shield, and then Cloud9 had a horrendous mid-game here against White Shield, who's going to be trio in this group.
Baron is going down here, no doubt about that one. No one around from Cloud9 for even a sneaky attempt to get that one away. In fact, Goom almost stopped from recalling. Even that went wide. Certainly not looking like Cloud9's game. There's more items just going to be collected in, and well, there's a stark difference between these two lineups. He just will be getting himself a blue buff for what good that will do. They of course have 2 inhibitors down. With those super minions streaming in, only the bottom lane still has a turret and the inhib left remaining. But if White Shield wish to take that one, I think that they will just go in there and take it.
Yeah, inhibitor number 3 should not be far away. There is so much armor on the side of White Shield. Balls is not a big enough threat on Lulu. Rise or Elise can probably just walk into the turret. However, that's actually a really clever catch there by Cloud9, being way farther out than Najin White Shield expected to be. Saves it here to save the day, though.
Oh, there is a tidal wave, but the death mark will come through. Wild Growth comes in. Oh, Goom tries to get out, didn't get the kill, and will fall to Sneaky. They hold.
About the only possible way they could hold as well. They get a catch, and then they catch Goom in some over-aggression. If all White Shield did was slowly move as a 5-man unit and wait for the super minions to draw the attention of 2 people on Cloud9, the 3rd inhibitor would have been comically easy to attain. But they didn't, and now Cloud9 gets to devote all their attention to wave clearing the super minions, and White Shield can't push with 3.
Yep. Wait around for round 2 here inside the base. They still can't really venture out onto the map. Pretty much the entire map now, Najin Shield territory.
That's a scary sight, that vision toggle right there. Cloud9 literally sees nothing of the map. Oh, sorry, I lied. There is one ward down by the bottom of River. For what good that will do at this point.
Didn't even get swept yet, so they got that going for them.
Which is nice.
That is nice. Cloud9, they really needed the Turtle this one out. They need a few more minutes for their inhibitors to come back up. I don't think we're going to see Najin White Shield get caught out yet again. If somehow they could force the fight the instant Najin White Shield groups, that would make it so the super minions don't necessarily have time to finish their Nexus turrets. But looking at that wave in the top lane, Kai actually has to go there right now, which is bad timing considering White Shield is knocking on the bottom lane door.
Oh, Hook coming through. Doesn't get the fish though. Lemon Nation survives for now. Just waiting for that next minion wave.
That top lane wave would kill their
rolling through. Yeah, they're going to just go straight in on towards that inhib turret. The Hook again, aim this time for Sneaky, doesn't connect. Turret goes down. Lemon Nation being caught out on one side. He is surely going to fall here. It will be Goom to pick that one up. Inhibitor number 3 is going to go down. The super minions are already through there and taking the tower aggro. Hook comes down onto Balls as well. He will use the Wild Growth. That won't be enough though to keep him alive. And White Shield just ripping through both Cloud9 and their base here as they go. Both Nexus turrets are going to go down. It looks like Save wants a bit more of the action here. Will be able to get in there. It's actually Goong that steals the 1 kill. He takes down Sneaky, and Najin White Shield finish off the game here in classy style. A very one-sided encounter. Brilliant performance from Shield.
And they take command of their group now. 3-0. They have beaten every team in the group in their first matchup. This one, very convincing. They struggled a little bit against Alliance, but as far as their ultimate goal, which is advancing through this group, they're looking pretty good.
It's funny as well, I think most people, if they were to look at the 3 Korean teams, would look at Blue and White to go through their groups without problems, and maybe White Shield the ones that were beatable on paper. So far, Najin White Shield looking very, very strong. Not untouchable though, Alliance pushing them a very long way in that previous encounter. But we've got the points on the board, and that's what counts after your first 3 games.
And Cloud9 trying something we have not seen from them before. This 3 very squishy threat team with the double supports not working out for them in group stages here.
And that's the beauty of the fact that everyone plays everyone twice, right? So you can come in the first game and say, we've got this curveball strategy that might work out for us, that we might be able to catch them off guard with, yes, okay, if you lose, you're losing a game in the group stage, but you can always revert it and change it for the next time that you meet.
And I definitely feel like when Cloud9 watches that game again, they're going to be very disappointed in themselves because they had pretty decent chances in the early game, and once Corki picked up that Trinity Force, they didn't necessarily need to fight. But as soon as they started, it was almost a 10,000 gold lead that just appeared. So that was what cost them the game.
And I think that there's been all this talk about, you know, the solo laners of this team, Shield. However, you really got to pay attention to this Thresh pick. Gorilla is all over the place. When they pick an early game bottom lane like that, it opens him up the roam, and he gets these early mobility boots, creating plays all over the map.
And we have to get the shot of watching their melting fans' hearts for a long time now. And, you know, a fantastic win overall for Najin White Shield. Not all bad news for Cloud9. They've still got 2 wins on the board from their first 3 games. And for a breakdown of that match, let's check in with our team at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Joe. I love Watch 2. Before we get to picks and bans and breaking down this game, I want to kick off on something that Kobe was talking about, the Thresh pick. Gorilla's played Thresh 3 times out of all 3 games. The entire team has secured 45 kills, right? 45 kills. He's been involved in 36 of them. This is a plea to Cloud9 and Alliance. Take Thresh away or get rid of it.
Typically, just because of Gorilla's reputation on Thresh in Korea, you do see a lot of Thresh bans targeted at Najin White Shield, and I mean, he's a playmaker. It's not only just the pick, though, it's the way they play. They're a very conservative team. They wait for their support to get there, and then they make the play.
Probably talk to me about picks and bans and Champ Select. Talon into Zed again. I'm still not convinced.
I think, well, it first started out with the bans. They were blue side, Najin White Shield was blue side, and I think that's the best blue side bans. Not the third misban thing, but the fact that they ban out Syndra and first pick Zed. Some kind of variation like that against Cloud9 I think is the best, especially because it's forcing high onto Talon, which isn't like notably way better than Zed in any way.
To be fair, he was doing well. He was holding his own, and even later in the game, they traded 1-for-1 on the bottom. So I'm pretty sure if that lane played out the way it did, and the rest of the map just played a little better, that could have been different. I would have liked to see C9 lane swap, because what's putting a timer on Cloud9 here is that Ryze. That Ryze is going to get incredibly big, let alone Save is just a monster on him already. I just wonder, why did Cloud9 not lane swap? They have the weaker bot lane. They have the top lane that gets less, my English is very hard sometimes, gets less punished if you swap. Lulu has utility. It's a utility mage. All you need is the ulti and the slow in fights. Ryze is a beast who needs farm. Why didn't you swap?
Well, I don't know. I have to disagree because honestly, Cloud9's bottom lane matchup, which is Nami Trist, one of the strongest lanes. I've been saying this for so long. Nami Trist has insane everything. The laning is amazing. The trading is amazing. The scaling is amazing. I don't understand how they fell so far behind against Corki Thresh, which, like I said before, is just a kind of so-so lane. Yeah, they might fall behind levels 1 and 2, but they shouldn't have been so down, and there's so much spillover from Gorilla. This guy was roaming everywhere.
I've actually watched that lane. Like, I watched the first 4 minutes of it, and basically what ended up happening was level 1. They missed the race to level 2. They could have won it. Sneaky basically stood still and
he played poorly.
Went left and right, and he probably could have put in 3 more auto attacks, tied the race for the first wave, and then just challenged level 2. Instead, they desperately tried to get level 2 and then got out-traded really hard, which put, if you go for the race and you lose, then you lose really hard. If you give up the wave, you can just farm on the tower. But if you both challenge to get to level 2 and you're the one on the losing side, that's when you get punished really hard, and that ended up happening.
Well, I think that Najin Shield put a lot of emphasis on that bottom lane. It seemed teleports going in, it seemed roams, it seemed ganks. Let's pull the first replay up onto your screens. It's quite a chaotic one with a whole lot of people getting involved. Roll this one out, and I quite like the play. Zeph and Sneaky going toe-to-toe, but look at the minimap. Look at the pressure on Elimination, and over the course of the next few minutes, everybody gets involved. Monty, talk to me through the play.
Such a good flash over that tidal wave, and Elimination's going to get hooked right here. And what you're going to see is actually Sneaky jump in and then heal to get Elimination out of there. Now at this point, they're trying to chase it back in. Save is now trying to TP between the turrets. So he's going to come in, flash forward, go down onto Sneaky. Of course, there's the Lulu. Now, a lot of kind of awkward positioning here from Shield. They went in a little bit too deep and got caught out. They try and run 2 through the turret. I think that split there was really suboptimal, and by the time High gets in, he's going to pick up another kill as well. So
I don't think Watch should have repelled to the wave there if he knows his top laner is coming in with teleport.
Yeah.
So Monte Cristo, you were the only analyst to correctly predict the winner of this game. Anything you want to say to your fellow analysts?
Yeah, guys, come on. These, the rose-colored glasses, after a Western team wins, you can't just put these things on and say, hey, one game, now everybody can beat the Koreans. No. You take them off and you say, Koreans are still Koreans. Do you know, let me ask you a question. Do you know the last time a North American team beat a Korean team? This guy should know. He was on that team. CLG, back in 2012, Champion Summer, beat MVP Blue the last time. Okay?
I beat Acorn, boys.
So just very quickly, you guys can have that back, because you know the last time a European team beat a Korean team? Right!
Yeah,
Guys, after a day and a half of action, let's actually see where our teams stack up. Pull up that standings graphic and we can quickly see. LMQ, of course, 2-0. Fnatic 1-1 after taking down Samsung Blue, as I have just rubbed in our analyst noses. Group D, Najin White Shield 3-0 after completing their first half of the group stage. Cloud9 2-1. Alliance 0-2. I guess I'll take some of that salt back. Guys, we do have to go to a quick commercial break, but when we return, OMG and Fnatic will face off in our 4th game of the day. Guys, don't go anywhere.
That. Don't be too afraid. It doesn't matter if we win or lose in the grand scheme of things. Let's just have some fun and play well.
Sneaky at less than half HP. Balls is there as well. Oh! They finish him off. They do get one. Damage is massive. Deathmark actually going down. Gorilla will fall though to Sneaky. But what can they do? We see Watch and Zephyr going deep. Ball's going to join in the fight. Watch is low. What can Balls do? He has to use his own wild growth on himself, and he's going to fall.